December 2006. Inside one of the largest retail companies in North America, investigators find something strange buried deep in their servers, a small piece of code, running quietly, for more than 18 months. No employee installed it. No department approved it. Yet, it captured millions of financial transactions. The more they dug, the more shocking the truth became. This wasn't an outsider. This wasn't a random cyber criminal. The code was placed by someone who was, at the time of the crime, a paid confidential informant for the United States Secret Service. And this wasn't even the beginning. 2005. The story begins in Miami, inside a Marshall store owned by TJX Companies. The store still relied on WEP encryption, an outdated wireless security protocol that hackers had been bypassing for years. To break into it, all a hacker needed was a basic laptop and time. Leading the intrusion was Albert Gonzalez. Gonzalez grew up in Miami, bright, restless, and obsessed with computers. Online, he created a second identity, Kumbajani. Under that name, he became a key figure on Shadow Crew, one of the biggest underground marketplaces for stolen identities and counterfeit documents. In 2004, the Secret Service took down Shadow Crew in Operation Firewall. 28 arrests, servers seized, forum destroyed. But Gonzalez avoided major charges. He cut a deal. He became a paid Secret Service informant, earning $75,000 a year to teach investigators how hackers operated. But while the government believed he had turned his life around, he was secretly building a new criminal empire. A new alias, Segvec, a new crew, new overseas partners, and a personal mission he called Operation Get Rich or Die Trying. He told one accomplice his goal was simple: $15 million, a yacht, and early retirement. TJX became the perfect target. Once inside the Marshall's Wi-Fi, Gonzalez's crew moved deeper into TJX's internal network. With help from his friend Stephen Watt, they installed a custom packet sniffer, a program that captured payment card data before encryption. It recorded full magstripe track data, expiration dates, CVV codes, customer names, and addresses. By late 2005, the attackers had nearly full freedom inside TJX's network. But the real shock was what TJX had been storing for years. Inside TJX, the attackers found a system full of problems. TJX was storing years of sensitive card data, including full magnetic stripe information, something industry rules had banned long before the breach. Many stores were still using WEP Wi-Fi. Sensitive databases weren't separated from public systems. Logging and monitoring were weak or missing. Some news reports even described attackers abusing job application kiosks through exposed USB ports to plant more malware. Internal emails later showed disagreements. One executive resisted upgrades because they were too expensive. Another warned the company was not compliant and was waiting for a disaster. The warning was ignored. TJX had created the perfect environment for a long-term breach, and the attackers were just getting started. From mid-2005 into late 2006, Gonzalez's crew operated inside TJX without anyone noticing. The packet sniffer collected nearly 80 gigabytes of data. Everything was funneled to servers Gonzalez rented in Latvia and Ukraine. From there, the data went to Maxim Maksik Yastremski, a major Ukrainian card trafficker who made millions selling stolen card numbers worldwide. Maksik's customers used cloned cards to withdraw cash and make expensive purchases across the US, Europe, and Asia. TJX discovered the intrusion late in 2006, but needed weeks to assess the damage before informing the public. But what happened next would turn the breach into a global crisis. In January 2007, TJX publicly announced the breach. They estimated 45.7 million cards had been exposed. Banks across North America and Europe reported waves of fraudulent transactions linked to TJX shoppers. Some banks replaced every card that had been used at TJX stores for years. Around the same time, law enforcement arrested a group in Florida involved in a nearly $1 million Walmart and Sam's Club gift card fraud scheme. Authorities believed the cards used in the scheme came from TJX data, though TJX itself did not confirm the source at that time. As investigators dug deeper into the stolen data networks, estimates began to rise. Court filings and reporting suggested the real number of compromised cards at TJX could approach the mid-90 million range, and TJX wasn't the only victim. Gonzalez's crew was also behind several other major attacks, including the massive Heartland Payment Systems breach, which exposed roughly 130 million card numbers alone. At the time, it was the largest known credit card theft in history. Across all operations combined, the Gonzalez network stole more than 170 million payment cards. But despite the scale of the operation, it didn't collapse because of advanced cyber forensics. It collapsed because of one simple mistake. In 2007, Gonzalez's team targeted a Dave & Buster's restaurant in New York. They infiltrated the network and placed packet sniffers on 11 point-of-sale servers to capture credit card data. But investigators later found something important. The sniffers didn't run forever. They needed repeated access to stay active. The attackers had to keep coming back into the system to reactivate them. Those repeated actions created unusual patterns. They drew attention. And when investigators followed the digital trail, every clue pointed back to someone they recognized. The same person who helped them take down Shadow Crew. The same person they had been paying as an informant, Albert Gonzalez. Now agents prepared for the final move. On May 7, 2008, federal agents arrested Gonzalez at the National Hotel in Miami Beach. Inside his room, they found laptops, a Glock pistol, luxury watches, stacks of cash. A later search uncovered a 3-foot plastic drum buried behind his parents' home, containing $1.1 million in cash. The takedown spread. Stephen Watt, who wrote The Sniffer, Humza Zaman, a money courier, foreign card traffickers, and Maxik, who had been caught in Turkey in 2007 and later sentenced to 30 years. The global network was dismantled, but the courtroom drama was just beginning. Gonzalez pled guilty across multiple federal cases. He attempted to argue that he suffered from Asperger's and computer addiction, but government psychiatrists disagreed. In court, he apologized to his family, voice shaking, admitting he had hidden stolen money in their home. His father cried in the front row. Prosecutors pushed for 25 years, arguing that Gonzalez had already tricked the government once and posed a long-term danger. In March 2010, the judge delivered the sentence, 20 years in federal prison, the longest hacking-related sentence in U.S. history at the time. Another 20-year sentence for the Heartland case was added, but would run concurrently. Gonzalez forfeited over $1.65 million in cash and luxury assets. He was released from federal custody by early 2024. TJX spent more than $250 million recovering from the breach. The company rebuilt its security systems from the ground up and agreed to 20 years of audits. Across the industry, the case forced major changes. Albert Gonzalez walked out of prison into a world transformed partly because of his own crimes. To this day, the TJX breach remains a warning that a single weak system, exploited by the wrong person, can become a global disaster.